Hello and welcome to Crypto Novus, where newbies become masters. My name is Chris Brown and I'm the host of the channel. Today, by request of someone in the community, I am going to be doing a 2021 price analysis for AMP token. And I have to be honest with you, I didn't know much about this coin before I did the research. But before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Bitcoin IRA. I've personally done business with them, would highly recommend them to anyone who's looking for an option and who has an IRA. So look them up at bitcoinira.com or use the number that's on the screen and give them a call. As always, this video is not and should not be perceived as crypto investment advice. I am not a financial advisor. Do your own research as always so that you understand your risks involved with the crypto investing choices you make. All right, let's look at Flexa AMP Basics. This is a collateral token. And to really understand AMP, you need to understand Flexa. And in order to understand Flexa, you need to understand the problem merchants are facing in regards to credit cards. So let's take a look at the credit card problem from the merchant's perspective. You can see here on the little graph chart to the left that there's basically three overall steps that occur between when we make a purchase to the point to when the merchant actually the finances are settled for the merchant. Basically, you have the authorization phase, you have the clearing, and then you have the settlement phase. These three phases, it takes about 10 steps to complete all three of these phases, and it occurs over about a 3-day period of time. We're all pretty much aware that the processing fees for credit cards are pretty high. It's anywhere from 1.3% to 3.4% of the purchasing price, which is a lot of money to give you, and there's more fees on top of that. And to give you a sense of that, in 2013, Walmart paid a total of $5.7 billion for the processing fees plus for all of the purchases that happen within their stores and online by customers. Now, to give you a frame of reference for that money, in 2020, Maldives and Barbados, the GDP for both of those countries independently was around $4.7 billion. The other issue that they deal with is obviously fraud and the cost of fraud. So a Nelson report was done in 2018 on the global fraud loss on credit card use. It was a total of $27.8 billion. Of that amount, the United States portion was $9.47 billion or 34%. It's around a third of the global fraud cost. That'll be significant as we talk about Flexa. The last thing that merchants deal with is what's called chargebacks. There are three different types. There's the one where there's a merchant error. There's, again, a fraud element component to it. And then there's what are called reverses or reversals, which those account for about 86% of chargebacks. And that's what they call friendly fraud. And essentially what it is where you and I go and buy something, we pay for it, we get the product, and then we get home, we change our mind, and we cancel the charge. Companies try to keep this at about 1% of the total charges that occur for them in a year. If it goes above 1%, it becomes very costly for the company. Flexa is a payment network system which offers solutions to merchants by being fast, completing transactions in seconds, fraud-proof because they can liquidate collateral, 100% digital payment network, guaranteed settlements. There are no chargebacks or reversals because of the collateralized token, flexible integration into the merchant's existing POS system, hence why it's called Flexa. They offer privacy in the transactions, global, so settlements can be received through various currencies throughout the globe with no conversion fees, and it's an open source software protocol. So Flexa's main pitch is that the old traditional payment system is overpriced and insecure. Well, if you implement blockchain-based systems, they're more superior from a security standpoint, they're more efficient, and they cost substantially less to both the credit cards holders as well as to the merchants themselves. Right now, Flexa is proud to say that they've got over 41,000 merchants that they are interacting with on their app and using the AMP token within the United States and in Canada. To give you a frame of reference about what kind of impact it is, in terms of market share. In 2019, there were listed about 10.7 million locations that accepted Visa and MasterCard just within the United States alone. So if they could capture that market share, go back to the earlier slide of the $9.4 billion of fraud that they could help these companies avoid in the future. So what improvements were made since 2018 when the Flexa coin came onto the market? Flexa coin was the predecessor, and it was launched in 2018 as the collateralized token for payments and facilitating a transference from crypto into fiat. In 2019, a year later, Flexa launched Speedin. It's a payment app that you can use on the phone to process these transactions using BTC, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, as well as the Gemini dollar. Then the DeFi landscape opened up, and they made some technical improvements to their Flexa network protocol. And then on September 8th of 2020, they transferred from the Flexa coin to AMP, which was the same basic coin, except there were some technical improvements to AMP over the Flexa coin. So AMP is still basically a token. It's open source, it's decentralized, and it provides for integration and transference of values from crypto to fiat. I always like to see what kind of number of tokens we have because it always impacts price. This was a little bit difficult to kind of discover, but essentially 100 billion tokens were launched initially back in September. It looks to me that either 6.5 tokens have been burned or they were distributed as part of the privacy sell that they had done back in September. From CoinMarketCap, they are indicating that their in circulation supply right now, it's basically 10 billion amps, which is about 11% of the maximum supply. And then this coin, there's staking involved. That's where the collateralized asset comes into play. So about 19.3 billion are staked. You can see in the slide the value of that. 15.1 billion is attached to Gemini and the other 4.2 to Speedin. Let's take a look at what happened in 2020 for Flexa and for AMP. For Flexa, when the DeFi market came into play, this was ideal for them. Decentralized finance is the game that they want to play. They're trying to make a paradigm shift from the way the old banking system was done and all those steps that we talked about earlier on. And they're trying to create something that's a lot more streamlined and a lot more direct. So for them to get on DeFi Pulse was an achievement. They're number one in ranking in the payment category, and in the overall list, which is 71 different vendors, they rank number 14. So let's talk about the transference from FlexaCoin to AMP. Now, I was impressed with this because it was clear that the management team was very serious about making this transition because they did it in simply a month. They went from FlexaCoin to AMP, a digitalized collateral token for facilitating, meaning an instant, cryptocurrency payments, developed on a collateralized retail payment system on the Flexa network. AMP is designed to mitigate the friction between customers paying in crypto and merchants receiving fiat currency. So quickly how this works is, if I want to use Litecoin and I'm in Germany and I want to make a purchase, if the merchant is a part of their system, I can use a card, I can pay with my Litecoin. That Litecoin then is transferred into euros and the merchant will receive euros. So there were three things that Flexa wanted to do with AMP in terms of technical improvements, and they are as follows. 1, direct. Collateralized supply operations are a single transaction performed entirely on-chain. This improves security and seamless integration of supply collateral. The second thing, it was open source and extensible. The implementation is a self-contained smart contract for anyone to use without restriction. This again is an ERC20 token, so it's built on the Ethereum network. And as Ethereum 2.0 evolves and improves the Ethereum network, AMP evolves with it. And then the last thing has to do with Flex's administration or anyone else's capabilities to make changes to the token contract is in fact removed, which increases security. Let's take a look at AMP. Flex's focus is business-to-business transactions. They are trying to help the merchant save money. AMP's business use cases, we've talked a lot about payments, but this can be applied to lending, exchanges, and remittances. There's a lot of growth that AMP can go through over the next few years. They've established some really good partnerships with merchants, obviously, and with others within the crypto community marketplace. But what impressed me the most was their custody. So they're with Gemini. In order for Gemini to take them on as an asset for custody, they went through the New York State Department of Financial Services to establish regulations to govern them. And for them to make that step means that Gemini is really serious about AMP, and AMP's really serious about being in the marketplace and being around for many years to come. Coinbase is very serious about their custody services that they offer. Here are the types of clientele that they're wanting to attract to them for investment purposes: asset allocators, foundation, pension funds, endowments, hedge funds, venture capitalist funds, and index funds. What Coinbase is wanting to do is they're wanting to create an environment that provides safety for assets, regulatory compliance, and transparency to their clients. Coinbase is very serious about custody and how they are trying to lead this transference from the way we used to do banking and finance in the old days versus what we're going to be doing in the future. So their reputation is on the line, and they are not going to choose assets that they're going to hold in custody that they don't believe have merit. Out of all the things that I've seen, this relationship with Coinbase, I think, is very, very significant for Flexa. Okay, so let's look at price prediction. As I mentioned before, Flexa and AMP were not even on my radar. And the reason why is when I first got into the crypto market as an investor, I was focused on the top 10 assets. And I still am. As time has progressed and I got a little bit more comfortable with the marketplace, I kind of moved my focus to the top 100. And that's kind of where I've been. I'm beginning to look beyond that as I'm even getting more versed in the marketplace. So this was at 216, and so I wasn't even focused on this. Now that I'm aware of it, I will start paying a little bit more attention to what happens to this coin as time progresses. This is the slide I always use to validate my pricing for Bitcoin at 146 and at 276. So let's take a look at AMP. Right now, AMP is on 3 exchanges: Gemini, Bittrex, and Polynex. I always go to CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap to get my information on the coin. Normally, I just show one because they're so close that there really isn't much of a difference between one platform versus the other. But in this case, it was drastically different, so I showed both of them. And I think probably part of the reason is because AMP is relatively new on the scene. It was only introduced just last year in September. So let's take a look at the information from CoinGecko. CoinGecko ranks AMP at number 59 on their list. They give a circulation supply of basically 36.2 billion. And the way they came up with that was they took the maximum remaining supply of 93.9, subtracted 57.6, which is the amount that's held in custody, and they came up with their 36. Based on that, their market cap's at 1.1 trillion. Market dominance was high. I think it's relative to the market cap number of 0.07%. All-time price was 0.042, which had happened this month on the 12th. The price presently is at basically 3 cents, and its price relative to Bitcoin, you can kind of read the numbers of zeros. There's 6 there, plus then 6.1. For CoinMarketCap, the ranking was, as I showed you before, was 216. They basically gave a circulation supply of basically 10 billion coins, which is 11% of the maximum, which then, of course, changes its market cap to 320 million out of the 1.5 trillion overall crypto market cap, which gives a market dominance of only 2%. So you can kind of see why one is 7 and one is 2, but in terms of projecting future value, which one do you use? All-time high was a little higher, is a little over 4 cents, about 4.5 cents on the 12th, and the price is, again, still 3 cents. Its price relative to Bitcoin was higher than what CoinGecko gave. In 2020, the coin, when it first was introduced in September, came out on the market, on the scene at about a penny. And by the end of the year, it had dropped. So it went negative. It went below a penny to 0.0065 cents. It started off 2021 at 0.0066, so just a little bit in the day. Its year high went to 0.04 cents. So it saw a 7x growth so far this year, which if you invested last year, you're probably feeling really, really good now. So let's take a look at what this could do for AMP by the end of the year. So basically what I did is, me, I take a more conservative approach. So I'm going to use the numbers that were associated with the coin market cap analysis. So with that being said, scenario 1, if Bitcoin reaches 146,000, we're going to see an AMP price of 14 cents, or it will 4.4x from its present position. That gives us the circulation. I kept the circulation circulation supply the same, which gives us a market cap of $1.4 trillion. Now, if the overall crypto market goes to 3.3 trillion and the market dominance stays the same at 0.02 cents, market cap is $660 million. The AMP price then is only 6.5 cents, or it does a 2x from where it is right now. Scenario 2, if Bitcoin goes crazy, like a lot of people are hoping that it does, we can see an AMP price at 27 cents. It gives us a market cap of about 2.7 trillion. If the crypto market cap goes to 7.7 trillion as a result of all this price action, AMP maintains a market dominance of 0.02 cents, we can see an AMP price of 15 cents, or again, 4.6x. These numbers actually are not too bad. I could see this. Any one of these scenarios is really possible. So let's take a look at my summation. So the price range for AMP in 2021 could be anywhere from 6.5 cents to 15 cents. I'm going to give it an average of 10 cents. If it meets that 10 cents mark for the year, AMP could see a 6.2x. Now, when I look at this, two other projects come to mind that are relatively in the same price range, and that would be Hedera Hashgraph, which I'll do a presentation on here shortly. It started at around 3 cents for the year. It is up to around 14 cents. And then the other one is Dogecoin, and we all kind of know what's happened with Dogecoin. It was below a penny, and it has shot up all the way up to 8 cents. Those are two different projects, kind of different places within the marketplace that are around the same price point, if you will, as AMP. So I think that these ranges are very possible. I think 10 cents is very possible, and I really think maybe even 15 is possible if something special happens with AMP throughout the course of this year. So here are my final thoughts. I think there's a strong business case for what Flexa is trying to do and for the use of their token AMP. I think there is strong management, in listening to Tyler Spaulding and his partner. I mean, if they stuck out with this project for a decade before they were able to launch in 2018, then after launching, they saw that their Flexa coin was not meeting all of the needs within the marketplace, so they burned all the old coin, came up with a new token, and then relaunched that. That shows me that they are committed to their project and to trying to solve this problem. The challenge that they're going to have, it is a new paradigm shift that they are presenting to the marketplace, and there are obviously going to be some resistance to that. So they're going to have to overcome that. I think the dollars are in their favor, but we'll have to see and watch. So I think this is a project to watch, and I will most certainly watch it during this bull run to see how high it actually really does go. I have a strong suspicions that it's going to be one of those projects that you definitely want to buy into when the market retraces back. That's my prediction for this year, for 2021, for AMP. As always, if you guys liked the video and want to be a part of the community to see more, by all means, please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you found a nugget or two which was valuable to you in this video. I know that I did. If in fact you did, and you liked what you learned, please hit the like button as well. Crypto Novus signing out. My name is Chris Brown. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.